Okay, we're here in lovely Brentwood, California with Ross Levinsohn.
Want to take a picture of the
No,
scenery?
all right, okay. Beautiful, beautiful mall, mallette, sunshine.
Like my
So,
office?
Exactly.
It's a good office.
Ross,
Yeah.
what are you doing at your new venture? You've got new partners, lots of money to spend. What's the deal?
So we teamed up with a 10-year-old venture company called Com Ventures, John Miller and I. And
John Miller of AOL.
John Miller,
formerly
of AOL. And
you're formerly of MySpace and Fox, yep.
Fox, spent some time at Fox, 7 years at Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really looking to invest on behalf of limited partners in the next phase of digital media companies. We're really focused on two things, communications and digital media.
Okay, explain to me the digital media part.
So we're here in beautiful Los Angeles.
Right, where there's a writer's strike going on.
There it is, yes.
Hollywood is declining precipitously in its regular businesses.
That's true. You want to keep going?
Yes, go ahead.
So, no, you.
Oh, you're here to save the day. Go ahead.
No, not at all. I think you do have a couple things happening. You have old media trying to figure out new media. Mm-hmm. You have technology trying to figure out media. And in the intersection there, somewhere in the middle there, is the next evolution of what becomes of media as we know it.
Right.
There are some companies doing it. My old company, News Corp's doing pretty well. All the other big media companies are trying to figure it out, and there are just an incredible amount of new companies popping up daily, who are either building applications that help the business, who are creating content, pure play content companies, distribution companies, monetization companies. And what John and I and our new partners from Com Ventures, our new ventures called Velocity Interactive Group, want to do is really facilitate that.
All right, so here's the two issues I see. One, monetization. Two, Hollywood and its recalcitrance to join in to the digital party. Despite efforts, they've made some efforts, but the fact of the matter is they haven't been terrifically fast forward.
Right.
So let's talk about that first.
Okay, well, first of all, with regards to old media, it's tough to change business models, especially when those businesses still yield real cash flow. So you do have a fair amount of resistance to trying new things.
Go ahead.
Keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
The second part of it is you do have a totally new generation of people who are sitting in the middle of all this, who are figuring out new business models and who can produce programming for cheap, who understand how to distribute things virally, who know how to tap into existing ad networks and make money from that, who know that you don't need 1 million viewers to make money, but if you have 100,000 of the right viewers in a really good vertical that has endemic advertisers, you actually can make a nice living.
So Ross, let's talk about monetization. So what's the issue there?
Well, part of the problem for most startup businesses is you can't afford a monetization sales force.
Right.
But there are now plenty of ad networks, whether it's text or video, that can go out, distribute, and monetize any piece of content, whether it's 3 minutes or 60 minutes. So I think it's getting easier.
Right. But I mean, Google hasn't even figured out how to monetize YouTube. I mean, very few Hollywood productions online are making any money. I mean, all the Hollywood moguls talk about that. One of the issues around the writer's strike is that they make hardly any money on their professional content that's, people pay for in other places.
Yeah, I do think what the strike is doing is magnifying the economics of the business, and I don't think you can produce Hollywood equivalents on the web or on mobile devices at the same economics and expect to make money. It's just you're going to throw money down the drain.
So there's very few VCs in Hollywood. Why is that? And here you are.
That's interesting. I don't think that Hollywood has needed funding, frankly. What you've seen over the last 10 years is hedge funds and banks and funds from other countries coming in and subsidizing movies and subsidizing media companies. And now what you're seeing is there's a generation of talent that aren't necessarily that interested in working for Warner Brothers or Fox. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they really want to produce for themselves.
Right.
And so they are. And now there are a smattering of venture groups down here. But it's more interesting.
Can it make that big kind of hit that like a Titanic makes or something like that? That's huge money.
Different economics, right? I think you either create asset value or you create some type of digital studio that keeps churning out the hits. So if you think about before FinCin, which was the consolidation of studios and production companies, there were lots of independent production companies making lots of money and producing lots of really good product. And that doesn't exist really anymore. because in order to survive in this town, everything consolidated and all the studios.
Can you get the talent here to do that? Because
there's an unbelievable.
Only because I feel like a lot of people here, the risk to reward ratio that you have, say, in Silicon Valley, everyone here wants no risk and all reward.
Well, here's the interesting thing. It's the identical model to Silicon Valley. So think about venture investing in Silicon Valley. You invest in lots of companies. One or two really hit it. 2 or 3 are okay, and a bunch of them go away.
Except there's not the entrepreneurial risk by the talent or anything else, because that's where you really have to start investing in talent.
But there's no risk anymore. Because what's your risk if you're a writer today? You're not getting a big studio cushy job where they're going to pay you $2 million as a holding deal. Right. So you want to create. These are young, interesting, aggressive people who want to create product, and I think there needs to be outlets for it. And it's not just pure play content per se. That will be one element of, I think, what comes out of this town. Right.
Let's talk about video. Is video where it's at? Period.
I think video in 08, probably the latter half of 08 and 09, is going to be really important.
Because what else monetizes? Print or print-ish or text?
The interesting thing is probably the best content being produced today is by newspapers, oddly enough, right? It's in a cost structure and a model that is tough to make work today, siphoning off of audiences. So I do think print works. I think it works in the right way, that content. Video obviously can work in a bigger way because it's a visual medium and the advertising can be more interesting. I think that the real challenge is going to be how do you find it, right? So, it's always been the challenge of the web. It started with directories, then it's search, now it's viral and search. How do you find video? How do you organize video?
So what are you looking at? What kind of companies are you looking at? You want to tell us all this?
Yeah, well, I think if you put them in 4 categories. We're looking at pure play content companies. We're looking at distribution companies. We're looking at monetization companies, and we're looking at platforms. I consider YouTube, MySpace, Facebook as platforms, even before it was sort of a buzzword. It enables you to create, it enables you to distribute. Those are great low-cost, high-yield businesses. So, we'd like to stay focused in those sort of 4 areas, and to me a platform could be the internet, it could be a television, it could be a set-top box, it could be a mobile device. It could be something that hasn't been invented yet.
And lastly, how are you getting along with VCs in Silicon Valley? Do you feel like you're going to be you're trying to bridge the media technology chasm?
I think both John and I have had great relationships with lots of VCs. Our new partners who've been VC for 10 years know everybody. And I think we hope we can work with everybody.
Now, last question. What's the biggest hype thing this year?
The biggest hype thing in 08 or 07?
08 and 07, now.
The biggest hype, I think Facebook was the biggest hype probably for 07. 08, I think it'll be interesting. Probably the deconsolidation of, we'll go wide swath, deconsolidation of big media companies. Something happening with Yahoo, I think, this year. And then, probably widgets are on the Facebook plus widgets, probably, right? And widgets, first half of the year will get
Well, I think about those.
Yeah, more and more play in the first half, and I think, I do also think one last thing, that you're going to probably see the first significant down rounds for some companies.
Recession, Ross, that's my feel. That's my story.
I think you invest, and there's a vetting out process, and you keep investing.
Great, Ross, as usual. Thanks a lot.
Karen.